Person one loves person two. Guess what? Shenanigans ensue. Person one hates person two. Guess what? Still shenanigans ensue. Person one fake dates person two. Guess what? You guessed it. Shenanigans ensue. Co-host one reports to co-host two. The name of the show? Shenanigans ensue. Yeah. Hello, I'm Jasmine.
And I'm Jane, and welcome to Shenanigans Ensue.
A podcast where... Why do so many of your excuses involve Finland?
Because nobody checks up on Finland.
Honestly, facts.
Yeah, no lies detected here. Each episode we'll watch a rom-com and discuss its merits as a member of the rom-com genre.
We'll cover well-worn classics, hidden gems, and everything in between.
We'll give you our unsolicited opinion on every trope, caper, and flim-flam the film used, or maybe abused.
And of course,
the
shenanigans! I am so excited for this one.
Yes, this is such a fun one.
We are coming at you with a late aughts, 2009, absolute sleeper gem.
Yeah.
Confessions of a Shopaholic.
What a fun romp this was. Neither of us have seen this film, so that was also an additional treat.
Yeah, I remember it coming out because I remember there was a book and people were really into it. And also, I feel like this was the height of a lot of these fashion magazines. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
After this point, things were on steady decline.
I remember reading the book, but I cannot tell you how it compares to the film because I read it in 2007 or so.
Yeah.
And never again. And then someone borrowed it and it's lost for all eternity.
Yeah, of course. There's just definitely a time period in my life where I was I think we all were way too involved in a lot of this fast fashion stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That opening montage of this film is so funny. Just the mom prices.
Oh my word, that was so real.
Versus the sparkly things that don't last very long prices.
Yes.
That hit me. That hit me real hard.
Also, some of the throwback fashion.
Yes.
Those massive belts that take up half of your torso.
So many chunky belts.
And I'm those things were so uncomfortable. You sort of sitting on the belt and it's squeezing, compressing you. It's very impractical. Your ability to bend in those things as well.
Yeah, but you wanted to be cinched.
Yes. Cinched to within an inch of your life. Do you remember this? Where you would cinch your big belt over your cardigan.
Yes.
You'd have your shirt or your dress on.
Yes.
And you'd put the belt over all of that. What were we doing?
And then you had to perfectly align everything so that the cardigan was maybe slightly open, theoretically, under the belt.
Yes, exactly.
Every time you went to the bathroom, you had to readjust everything. Why? Why did we do all that?
Are we going to look back in a few years and question the fashion choices we made now?
Well, yes, because they're just the 90s again.
Look, I have not revisited any of the 90s fashion in 2020.
You haven't? What do you mean?
The trauma, the PTSD.
I love it so much. It makes me so happy. We came all the way back around so hard, Jane, that we're back at the big oversized bag. Oh my gosh, I can't believe we're back here.
The Mary Poppins bags.
Yeah, it's come all the way back to that. One of my favorite things about this is the absolute girl math.
Oh, yes.
Involved in not only her purchases, but, okay, so tell me if this resonates with you at all. There was a whole ethos around your shopping venture, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you went shopping and you were, setting aside, say, $300 and you went shopping and you blew it all, you did not consolidate bags. In a world where you could consolidate bags so that you were only carrying around one bag of all of your purchases, you did not do that.
No, never.
You carried around all of your bags so you could feel the presence of your many purchases.
Yes, that does resonate.
Yes, the absolute kaleidoscope of colors, designs, prints on the many bags were there to remind you that you had a successful shopping trip, you know?
Yeah, the girl math is mathing, for sure. Before it was even a thing, she is a trailblazer,
Yeah.
a tastemaker.
She is present. She is making me feel things, most of them regret.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think part of it is that I'm not really a big shopper. I think I've spoken before about the fact that I get sensory overload in a mall.
Yeah.
So it's not a place I go to unwind.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't relate to her experience of feeling calm in a store.
No, that's fair.
I usually feel like stressed out.
Yeah, this is like a lot of craziness that she's putting herself through. Oh my gosh. Can we just also, like, the absolute ridiculousness of somebody writing a book in, I am assuming, the late 90s or early aughts, right? But, like, the absolute kowtowing to capitalism.
Right.
That instead of acknowledging that mistakes were made and that she's gone too far and what she needs to do is probably just file for bankruptcy.
That's what I was thinking.
She needs to file for bankruptcy.
Pull a Michael Scott.
Because that would send the wrong message to audiences that you can blow it all, keep the clothes. Like, obviously, this is not a great option, but like $16,000 in debt, you're going to go sell all those clothes. Girl, you did not make the $16,000 back with your little garage sale. She did not.
Jasmine, they were Louis Vuittons.
Used. I don't care what the sample sale was. You're not making back the same exact amount you bought them for.
Definitely not.
It's not happening. So, like, there's no world where she actually made back all the money. It's an impossibility. I was just like, why did we do this? Like, we're literally going to play this game where, like, what? We don't want corporations to know that we can default on their credit cards?
Right.
Like, it's not a good option, but 7 years is, like, not as bad as the debt she had. I'm dead. This is just, like, a big, hot mess that doesn't make a lot of sense, but I'm here for it.
Yes, I enjoyed myself amid, like, the panic attack.
Yep.
Shall we hit that plot synopsis?
Yeah, let's do it. So, journalist and secret shopaholic Rebecca accidentally lands a job at a financial magazine.
The financial magazine is run by journalist and secret socialite Luke.
Shenanigans ensue. If ever a match made in heaven were to come to be. That's so funny. How?
So funny.
That they both have secrets is just too much. So, we already went through a lot of our general thoughts on this.
Yep.
I'm trying to think if there's, like, anything else before we, like, dive head first.
No, I'm ready. Let's get into it.
Okay, great. So, we've got a good amount of tropes. We've got narration, love. We have a meet cute.
Love.
We have best friend. She's carrying that friendship too.
Oh,
girl.
100%.
We have montages.
So many montages.
We have music doing the most. We have a grand romantic gesture. And I also would like to add in a little bit of mystical realism.
Yes, definitely.
Which is maybe my favorite thing about this movie.
Oh, I loved it.
I love it so much.
This movie is also a good example of the fact that you don't need that many tropes to have a good rom-com. Quite a few of these in here are ones we've made up ourselves.
Yeah.
You really can just pick a couple and do them really well, which is what this film did.
Yeah. The addition of the mystical realism, which we do so little now, I love it.
It's one of my favorite things.
It doesn't make a lot of sense that her addiction manifests itself in the mannequins in the store windows beckoning her in physically and speaking to her. Sure, that, like, makes her seem insane, but addiction is insane.
Yeah.
Please, give it to me. I'm here for it. Also, there's nothing better than at the end of her journey, coming out on the other side of this addiction and having all of these store mannequins as she walks down Fifth Avenue clap for her.
That was so funny.
Giving her a standing ovation.
Stop, I'm so dead. After first trying to lure her back in, like, you need this bag. And she points back to her bag and she's like, no, I have a bag. Like, you need this dress. No, I'm wearing a dress. And the look of disappointment on these mannequins who are like, how are they getting them to emote so well as well? And then it goes from like disappointment to respect to like genuine pride, and they all slow clap her.
It was all just a test to see if you had learned your lesson.
Stop, I'm dead.
I've been trying to figure this out. I was like, maybe this is a me thing, and maybe this is me being ignorant of addictions, and so I fully acknowledge if that's what I've done here. But I could not for the life of me figure out why it made any damn sense for her to sell the clothes she's already bought. Like, the damage is done.
Right.
You're just losing money selling the clothes, unless it needs to be something where you go cold turkey and you have to get rid of the items.
I think it was perhaps that she never actually did the purge thing that she was supposed to do with that self-help video. And I think that was part of it. And then, while we at it, may as well get some money to pay off this debt.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That for me seems really insane, because if the damage is done, like, yeah, sure, get rid of some of it, but like at this point you're losing more money.
Right.
Because you're not getting your investment back, and now you don't have clothes.
That was the thing, because when she said everything, I was like, so you have to buy new clothes? I'm confused.
Yeah, that's where like they lost me a little bit.
Yeah, it wasn't the mannequins come to life. It was the selling.
Yes, a lot of clothes are not necessarily good investments. They're not going to hold up over a long period of time. But like, if you have a designer coat, that coat is going to last for 30 years. Don't get rid of that.
I think she had some really good quality pieces.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There was some of the logic where I was like, this is not logicking, but I guess like maybe I just don't understand how you would need to separate yourself from the addiction.
I need to see a full inventory.
Right.
And if she did actually keep anything.
But yeah, so good use of the narration during a lot of those mystical realism moments.
Yeah, so much fun.
I really enjoyed all of that. More of that, please, from Hollywood.
I loved getting the inner dialogue of Rebecca.
Yeah.
Because it also is sort of referencing the fact that it's coming from a book, which I think was written in the first person narrative. So that is really helpful.
Yeah. Do you want to hit any of the tropes?
Oh, you know I'm doing music doing the most.
Oh, absolutely. Let's go.
I have notes. First off, her ringtone being, if I was a rich girl.
Yep.
Na, 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 na.
I forgot that there was that cover back then. It's so funny.
I'd buried the fact deep, 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 deep down that we used to pay money to have customized ringtones.
Yep.
And now my phone has been permanently on silent
Truly.
since 2012.
And we would also pay money for a song we would never hear that we would make other people listen to as the ringtone when they called us. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then if you didn't renew your subscription, all your friends were listening to like Bach. And you didn't get a choice anymore. It's classical. Like, it was all a mistake.
Wild. Okay. Then we have, she's trying to be good and like doing her meetings at Shopaholics Anonymous, and she breaks and like tries to get her credit card out of the freezer and is smashing it.
Yes.
So she can buy this little clutch.
Yeah, just to paint the scene. So in order to make sure she had an emergency credit card, but that she wouldn't use it,
Right.
she froze it into a massive block of ice.
Gigantic.
And is now using a high-heeled shoe to try to chip it out.
Girl, you're gonna break the shoe.
Instead of running it underwater in the sink.
While she's busy doing this, we have, they try to make me go to rehab.
Oh my god, I forgot that was the song. Oh no.
What I found even more funny is then cut to her in the elevator, like in this new dress with this new clutch and like getting ready to go to this gala. And the elevator music is...
Oh, I didn't even notice. That's so funny.
I really appreciated that detail.
So good.
Then when she comes back to her apartment after she and her friend had like this big fight, we have a very sad version of Girls Just Want to Have Fun playing. Interesting choice.
What a weird choice.
I think they wanted it for the lyrics, when you're gonna live your life right, but it was a very curious choice. And then after she's been ripped off at the sample sale where she ended up with these boots that she thought were Louis Vuitton.
I think that they were still Louis Vuitton, but like you have to be very careful when you're buying these things because just because you spent a lot of money doesn't mean it's actually a luxury product.
Because it was like 5% cashmere.
Mostly plastic.
Mostly garbage. And the song, some of the lyrics is hands on my head thinking what else could go wrong. But then when she goes to sit at her computer to like type up this article, the lyrics go, never believe that things happen for a reason, but it did happen for a reason. So silly.
I love that she accidentally wrote these articles about her addiction, and the poor idiot Luke is like, oh wow, I love the allusions you made to securities.
This commentary, you're making finance so accessible.
Yeah. So accessible, in fact, that you convinced your parents to spend it all
Oh my word.
on a Winnebago. She becomes her own downfall.
And the last little thing, the fact that the debt collector's ringtone is Batman.
Nuh-uh. Why did I not notice any of this? I wasn't paying attention to the music this time around because that is the most insane choice. Like, he thinks he's a hero. He's the Dark Knight saving the city. I'm crying. That's so funny.
Yeah, so that's me with music doing the most.
So freaking good. Obviously, I want to go quickly over the montages.
Of course.
We already did the credit card out of the freezer one. Hilarious. We've got also the opening montage, which is just like a bunch of young girls in what appears to be a Payless shoe store. All these girly pops are opening up boxes of cute shoes with rhinestones and pink and this and that. And mom knows the deal. Mom knows that we can get something really nice, a quality product that's going to actually last for a similar price point. And so that's what we're getting, these brown, ugly Mary Janes. But these brown, ugly Mary Janes are going to last forever, girl.
And they go with everything.
They really do. And you can make it cute. It's just like in comparison to the rhinestones, I get it. But baby Rebecca is not having this. So her mom's inability to let her have anything fun is like triggered this.
A debilitating addiction.
Yeah, like this is actually the catalyst event for her addiction. So funny to me. But, like, as it turns into her being an adult and going through her buying a bunch of stuff at the beginning and her having basically an out-of-body experience while she spends way too much money on another shopping trip, that she dropped $900 like it was nothing.
That's wild.
And then, what? She doesn't even have $120 to buy the green scarf that she wants for the interview that she doesn't need. But, like, that's how bad this has gotten.
Yeah.
If you're at the point where you can't hobble together $120 between real money and your fake money, and you have, 18 credit cards, then you are in a dire situation, my girl.
Yeah, that's really rough. Like groceries,
Yeah.
electric, water, transport.
Well, she's not paying for any of that because Susie is an absolute saint, who is Jessica Jones, by the way.
Yes, oh my goodness.
I love her so much.
She's great.
But yeah, wowie wow.
Oof, it was rough.
So that was a really tough montage to get through. And then also just the two girlies working through the debt.
The bill paying montage.
Yeah, just trying to figure out what she actually owes. Her being like, how did you spend $300 on Calvin Klein underwear? And she's like, underwear is a basic human right?
Which, yes, but not Calvin Klein's.
Girl. The fact that, like, they get to the end of this to discover that she's slightly over $16,000 in debt.
The way my breath caught.
For clothes. But she still can't stop herself.
Yeah.
Oof.
Just shows addiction is real and rough and you need a lot of help.
Yeah, but like there's got to be a point where enough is enough. And her friend, to a certain extent, was enabling it by helping her with the housing and things like that. But, you know, you love somebody and you don't want them to be out on the street.
It's so tricky to like try and help people take responsibility, but to also not abandon them.
Yeah. And also that little montage of the two of them working together on those numbers then leads to them getting drunk together and then her writing the article and the hate mail switcheroo that then gets her the job. So ultimately, everything happens for a reason, I guess.
Look, the montage was really chaotic.
Yeah, it felt stressful.
Like the camera work as well.
Frantic.
It was crazy.
And then maybe I might actually add the switcheroo into tropes.
Mm.
This male switcheroo itself is so funny.
Perfect.
It pays off so well.
Yeah.
Her getting the job and that realization that she sent hate mail to the fashion magazine she actually wants to work at.
With $20 to buy some decent clothes.
And now she has to go undercover to retrieve the mail.
Oh, that was so funny.
So she doesn't burn the bridge.
Oh.
So fun and dumb.
So wonderful. I want to talk about the meet cute.
Yes.
Because it was adorable. Like, it was so funny. So Rebecca is stressed out, as Jasmine mentioned. She couldn't get $120 together, split over a $50 bill and 12 different credit cards or whatever.
God.
Although that was very funny, like the shop assistant dealing with her. So now she's dashed out to a hot dog stand to try and buy however many hot dogs to get cash back or something.
I could not figure out the logic behind any of that. It didn't make any sense.
I had no clue how this was working. But anyway, then Luke comes in and he hands her a 20 because he's like, you want your scarf, I want my hot dog. Off they go, their separate ways, after she's just lied to him about why she so desperately needs the scarf.
She's been lying to everybody about her debts.
Yes. Also, why then, when she goes for the interview, is she trying to get rid of and hide the scarf? He doesn't know what the scarf looks like that she was getting for her aunt. She could have gotten a chol and decided to put her own scarf on. What are you doing?
Yeah, and where she hid it doesn't make any sense. Just like shove it in your bag or something.
My word. So then we have the second part of the meet cute where, of course, Luke ends up being the guy who interviews Rebecca for this position.
Oh, yes.
And this interview is a train wreck. To avoid a question he asks about her opinion about some financial thing, she starts yammering on and on and on about like this bare-chested man on a billboard.
Behind him, yeah. She makes a comment about like, oh, I wonder what the view is from the 30th floor below us. Like, it's so funny and so weird.
And then she has to be like, I'm not a pervert, I swear.
Which you didn't need to say, girl.
No. And then, of course, Luke's assistant comes in and is like, we have the scarf that we just found.
She's like, you've dropped your scarf.
It's just a very bad interview.
It's all so miserable, and she really could not have screwed that up more.
No, it was a terrible interview, but such a fun meet cute.
Mm-hmm. And then obviously we should cover very quickly the grand romantic gesture at the end. Since we've just finished discussing this iconic green scarf.
Yes, indeed.
So Rebecca does not want to use her real name in the articles because of her addiction and because Susie has already mentioned that it seems a little insane that she would tell anybody how to manage their finances given her personal situation.
Right.
So she comes up with the moniker, the girl in the green scarf, which is lovely. And so as she's selling all of her possessions in her very bizarre garage sale that couldn't possibly make the money up that we've already discussed.
And also, it's taking place in the basement where they have their Shopaholics Anonymous, and all the people in Shopaholics Anonymous are manning these stations. And I'm like, so you supporting other people being in a shopping fit and frenzy?
They're not addicts, though, the other people, I guess.
No, they're not. But it was just interesting to like feed into this culture of like creating a frenzy around buying things.
Yeah, that was really weird. So the culmination of the sales event comes to a head in the auctioning of the girl in the green scarf's green scarf.
Ooh.
And there are two bidders.
A bidding war.
Yeah, it's gone up to like, what, $300 for the scarf? It's gotten insane. And you come to find out at the end that not only did Luke buy the scarf, but both bidders were him, which makes no sense. So he's on the phone with both of them going back and forth. And that one woman at one point said, my bidder will match anything your guy says. And it's the same guy.
I think it was one woman on the phone and one woman just like on her own. So I don't know what her brief was, but I did find it funny when she came to collect the scarf and Rebecca doesn't want to let it go. And she says to her, take care of it.
Never
Don't wear it with yellow. And she's like, I won't.
I would never. She shouldn't have sold that of all the pieces. Not the scarf.
It's the moniker.
So it's good that it was Luke.
So she could get it back.
Yeah. I just genuinely don't understand the logic behind him being both bidders.
I don't know.
What, you didn't need to do that. Just come out strong with the $300 bid or whatever. Or if what you wanted to do is make it obvious that, like, you care so much, that's why you did the double bidder thing, so she'll think you're very impressive. Just, like, have someone show up and be like, $500. You're rich.
Yeah.
Like, we've established that. Your family's loaded and connected. Whatever, dude. But that was the grand romantic gesture, and it worked.
Well, I guess it's time for shenanigans. Where to start?
Just starting right away with, like, when you get to see the inside of her bedroom, it's like she has a mini sample sale there. Or, like, when they come back to the room and she's like, I have to go shopping for this event. Susie is like, no, you have dresses. Here, this is a nice one. You don't need another purse.
Yeah.
Why would you not use the clothes you have?
Yeah, she has so many. And that's where it's like, it really is an addiction. She has more than enough stuff, but she feels this compulsion to go out and buy more.
And I get it. Like, there is a certain social faux pas around wearing the same dress to too many functions.
Sure.
But, like, at a certain point, you have a rotation.
Yeah. And it's not as if, as far as I can tell, she's going to a lot of very formal events. So
No.
there really is no need when she has, like, gorgeous stuff.
Oh, speaking of, I do want to discuss the shenanigans around the bridesmaid dress and the interview dress.
Oh my word.
So if the fashion magazine is now going to dress her for the talk show interview.
Why does she have to pay for it?
Correct. You would be getting dressed from the closet at your work.
Yeah.
And you would return the dress after.
Exactly. It's a loan.
Why is she paying?
I mean, they do it for awards shows all the time.
All the time.
Why?
This didn't make any sense.
Why is she having to fork over? Especially because she didn't ask Alette to dress her. And then Rebecca picked out the dress herself. So
she absolutely should not have had to pay for it at all. Like, it's a little illogical.
No, it was very weird. It was also very funny to me that there was just one dress that had a color that wasn't black in the store.
It was really funny.
Oh, goodness.
The other shenanigans around it being her maid of honor dress for Susie's wedding is this absolutely insane bubblegum pink
poofy
satin thing with a rainbow undercarriage. It's horrendous.
With a massive bow in the back over her bum.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is another situation where she didn't have the money, so Susie paid for it yet again.
I mean, probably.
Yeah, I think so. She ends up with both the bridesmaid dress and the dress for the interview, and she's carrying the bags, and she's going to Shopaholics Anonymous. Yeah, it's not a good look. So she accidentally, she sees someone walking in and says, you know, you're probably here for Shopaholics Anonymous. Do you mind? You've just parked your car. I think it's a bad look to bring the bags in. Can I store it in your car? Yes, she says. Absolutely. What a kind Samaritan. I thought that this woman was about to drive off with the shopping.
Me too. That's what I also thought.
And then to sit down instead and find out that this is actually the new leader of Shopaholics because you sent the other one on a mental breakdown the other day. Incredible.
The new leader who's then immediately like, we're going to use this as a teachable moment. Now you have to give back the things you've bought. And like, forces Rebecca to give the dresses to the thrift store.
This is the thing that was very unhinged for me. You all went way too hard.
Yeah.
She should not have done this. Like, that is a step too far.
It's horrible.
That everybody forcibly made her bring all this stuff over there.
Yeah.
This is insane
Yeah.
to make her drop off these actually important garments.
Yeah. Both very essential.
Yeah. And then to make her have to buy it again anyway.
Yes, exactly. How is this helping?
It created this situation where now she doesn't have enough money to buy them both, and so she has to choose one or the other. And of course, being an addict, she chooses the one for the event that's the most immediate need, which is her interview in the morning. And then, of course, the last little piece of this messy, messy puzzle is that as she's coming back from the messy interview where the debt collector freaked out, something a debt collector would never do, show up at this stupid thing anyway, and has embarrassed her on live television, Susie's out there to be a compassionate, loving, non-judgmental friend, only to see a local unhomed woman in the bridesmaid dress she paid for.
That was so rough.
And while it's not technically Rebecca's fault that this happened, that hurt.
Yeah.
That was brutal.
Yeah, that was.
Mm-mm-mm.
What this film did a lot that I really appreciated was I felt like it was constantly looking for ways to add a gag, add a joke, add some fun. Like, it feels like there was an emphasis on extracting humor.
Ah, yeah.
Something that I think of in particular is when Rebecca walks into the receptionist and he's telling her about how the job was filled by internal hire. Cut to slow-mo, the internal hire, and like they're staring and gawking, and her little briefcase, the clip comes undone, like it pops.
Yeah, that she's got a bootleg little bag.
Yes.
Everything around that woman who got the job was so damn funny.
Including a manufactured meet cute.
Yeah.
Where she figures out who Luke is and that he is related to the socialite somehow, and she pretends to swoon so that he catches her.
I love that so much. You know, as they're off on the business conference, Rebecca's hitting it off with a bunch of people. The man who's in charge of the finance magazine makes it seem like he's gonna have her fired, and it turns out that she's just the most charming person in the world. Everybody loves her.
Yeah.
It makes Luke look like a genius for being the guy who hired the girl in the green scarf.
Mm-hmm.
Luke's been given the tickets to the ball for the conference, which is like a tremendous honor. And you're assuming that he's gonna go with Rebecca, the person who got him the tickets.
Yeah.
Only to find out after an afternoon of dancing and chemistry that he's gonna take the tall blonde instead. Like, truly doesn't make any sense. The manufacturing of all of this was so bizarre.
That's why I didn't put love triangle in the tropes even, because I just felt it was so manufactured and weird that it didn't even really earn the trope of a love triangle.
No, I'm having a hard time remembering exactly when it flipped over. Is it that he finally flipped over to I'm in love with Rebecca, I'm gonna smooch her after the party where she's mistaken for a waitress?
Yeah.
Okay. That's how poorly the pacing on it was, is that I cannot actually remember when it happened.
The pacing was wild. It came out of nowhere, this declaration. Like, yes, we've been building chemistry and longing looks and a bit of flirting or whatever, but then we just have them on the roof at this function, and she says like, oh, you should fill your photo frames, you could put a picture of that girl in there, like, isn't she your girlfriend? And Luke's like, no, she's not you. Smooch. I'm like, this is coming out of nowhere.
That was so intense.
I get we have about 20 minutes of runtime left, so you need to have them get together so you can have more of an intense fight. But I feel like we didn't need to have them get together at that point. There's still the betrayal level.
I think that there was more time than that.
Really?
Because he still had to find out that she was lying about her debt.
Oh, yes, of course,
So there was still like 45 minutes of film left.
We could just have had them kiss at the end after the grand romantic gesture and after everything's out in the open.
That would have been fine.
Like, we didn't need to force them together to go for more of an emotional impact when he finds out that she's in debt.
Right? Honestly, he could have made the realization that he loved her
Mm.
when he got the job offer to start the new magazine,
Yeah.
and he decides to go off on his own. And it's a moment of being like, yes,
Mm.
Rebecca was right. She has my best interest at heart. I think I'm in love with her.
Yeah.
That could have been it.
Nothing really happened between him and the blonde girl at the gala for him to like just totally disregard her. Like I kind of felt sorry for her.
Yeah.
She didn't actually do anything.
From her perspective, it's not like Rebecca and Luke were together, so
No.
she truly didn't do anything. The only thing she's guilty of is having resting bitch face.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
Yeah.
And yeah, she's not an evil villain. It was so
No.
interesting. And even in the dressing scene where they're getting Rebecca ready for the interview, she is so upset that Alette has never taken any of her suggestions seriously, and Rebecca just makes a suggestion like that and it's happened.
Yeah.
She's not happy in her work position either. Like, she's kind of stuck at the whims of these powerful people as well.
Yeah.
So it's like a very interesting dynamic.
She deserves a film as well.
Yeah, I like her.
I want her to have a happy ending. She wasn't evil.
She's
like a little
not.
catty, maybe.
Yeah, she's sassy, but she's fun.
She didn't go out of her way to try and sabotage Rebecca.
I would be friends with her.
Yeah, she was great. Anyway, do you have another shenanigan?
Oh, I really loved, I guess I would add this maybe to the montage, sort of. The, like, regret montage where things have gone bad and now she's, like, at her parents' because she's fighting with her friend, leading into Alette showing up at her parents' house. That whole scene was really, really funny to me. I loved how the film wrapped it up nice and tight with Alette showing up and being like, here are your options. I think you can write for us everything you wanted, just you have to eat your morals a little bit.
Yeah.
So often in the world, that is the option you're given. And I don't prescribe any right or wrong to it. I think everyone has to make the choice that they think they can live with. And I think if she had decided that that was going to work for her, that would have been perfectly fine. But, man, realizing that even Alette's like, this is not going to be affordable actual fashion.
No.
This is still going to be like where the very expensive sample sale is. You can save 50% but still spend $300.
He's like, we'll print the prices small.
Yeah, I think it snaps everything into focus for Rebecca that she's going to be part of the problem for somebody else if she continues down this path.
Right.
And I think with the addiction, it makes it clear that she can't work for Alette.
It was very interesting to see the character growth.
Yeah.
Like the realization for like, I actually can't do this. Also with that scene, additional stuff of like the mum peering behind the wall, like just hovering to see what's going on, and the whole offering Alette a slice of cake, and she's like, oh yes,
Smaller.
smaller.
It's a crumb that they put on a plate. They put a crumb on a plate. I thought for sure we're going to see the tiniest sliver of cake, but no, it's just a crumb.
That's just dirtying a plate.
Hilarious.
And again, they didn't need to do that.
No.
That was just like extra flavor. So good.
Extra flavor, unlike any flavors he's getting from that tiny morsel.
Oh, then we have a very surprising Ed Helms cameo.
Yeah.
Being the guy on the VHS tape.
On the self-help VHS.
That was so funny.
I loved that so much.
It was so good. Him asking all these questions and Rebecca being like, no. And then Ed Helms asking, did you say no to all these questions and are therefore still in denial?
The on-the-noseness of it over and over and over again.
It was great.
So the last thing that I would probably go over is just that after this debt collector has done more than any debt collector has or will ever do, the most unrealistic part of this film is the debt collector caring that much. And so after all of that he shows up in his own place of work and everyone's staring at him and we don't really know why, just for him to walk into his office and see that Rebecca has not only paid on the debt, but has done so in pennies.
My word.
Slay.
The amount of time that must have taken to do that already.
That's time well spent, in my opinion, after he publicly embarrassed her on national television.
That was horrible.
I hope that man spends the rest of the year triple checking that payment. That is the appropriate level of spite.
The way he catches her, though, when he finds who she is, so funny.
Oh my gosh, the elevator and her personal personal ringtone.
Exactly, because at the conference, she sets a personalized ringtone for him. It's Daniel Smead, don't pick up the phone.
Mhm.
Daniel Smead,
Don't pick up the phone.
So, of course, they are then on the lift together. For some reason, she decides to call him back to make sure that it is actually him. And he's like, good thing you have callback. And he calls the number back, which is, of course, Rebecca.
Yep.
It's Daniel Smead. Don't pick up the phone. As she's exiting the lift, it was so funny.
The camera work in that moment was so good. Watching her realize that he knows, and then watching him realize
Yes.
he's found his quarry. Like, everything all at once is so funny.
It was so great.
I really enjoyed it.
Another thing with the debt collector is while Rebecca is being congratulated and everyone's so impressed with her in the office about giving people great financial advice, while this is going on, she has a debt collector calling her.
It's just the constant irony throughout the entire film of the job she landed herself and the life she's living
Yeah.
is like really fun. And also a good juxtaposition about like how you can live with these addictions and like how people can live double lives.
And people do. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Okay, I have 2 quick ones and then I'm done.
Yeah.
So, the fact that she pads her resume by saying she speaks Finnish, which is
Oh, it's so dumb.
ridiculous. And then Luke introduces her to someone Finnish.
Yes. And she manages to muddle her way through the entire exchange, slap him, and then convince him still that she actually did speak Finnish and that
Yeah.
she's delightful.
It's because of men like you I left Finland. Oh, goodness. Then, when she takes Luke to go shop for the ball,
Oh, I loved this.
oh, good. She says, you speak Prada? And he's like, occasionally.
Yes.
So good. Because Rebecca and the sales assistant, they're just yammering on about like, oh, what do you do pink? I don't know, maybe about this.
And he jumps right the fuck in.
Yeah.
Love that. Surprise socialite.
Yes. And then the last thing, I didn't put it in the tropes because I didn't feel like it was prevalent enough.
Mhm.
But we have some messy magical wind.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Blowing a sample sale sign into Rebecca's face while she's on her way home.
She did so well. She had such a good day at work.
Yes. So responsible. And then the messy magical wind came in.
Telling her about the sample sale.
Oh, dang it. So close.
And then I guess like the last little thing that I would end us on is the lovely epilogue.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like nice that they wrapped it all together, that she still is a advice columnist, but now about being a shopaholic, swinging the Finnish stuff back in there with that guy showing up one more time,
Like actually learning how to speak Finnish.
actually learning Finnish in her spare time now that she's not a shopaholic. I love that.
It's very cute.
The parents are there, her best friend is there, she got the guy, she's living life, and she's still actually friends with the blonde woman.
Yeah.
I think they did a lovely job.
Yeah. That everyone's doing good.
Yeah. That brings us to a fun
Fab
Fab Fail.
Fail.
She's fun.
Yeah, for me it's a good fun.
Yeah. In a world where they had figured out the romance pacing better, it might
Yeah.
have tipped into a fab. Or maybe it was just the chemistry wasn't quite enough for me to be like ooey gooey.
Yeah.
But the relationships of the two women was so fun, and her working through her addiction was really like lovely to watch. So ultimately, solid fun for me.
Yeah, for me as well, the pacing of the romance stuff, because I think they had good chemistry and it was building slowly, but then it wasn't a satisfying coming together of all this chemistry that they've been building.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
I got a bit of whiplash. It came out of nowhere, the grand declaration.
Yeah.
You know, because I was enjoying watching them find their way around each other. And then also, for me, the anxiety of the choices she was making. Like,
Oh,
I
gosh,
understand
yeah.
this is the point of the movie, but that prevented it from being a fab as well.
Yeah.
Because I was just clenched for so much of it.
No, that's so fair though.
But a super great time, so colorful, and I loved how they fleshed out the relationships with the women, and it was very interesting to see how they handled the addiction. Like, we didn't even talk about the Shopaholics Anonymous, like that whole crew and their dynamic. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was super entertaining, and what a sleeper film.
Yeah, a real sleeper. Definitely worth a watch.
Absolutely.
So, that brings us to...
our favorite segment. Give me the cheese, please.
I'm excited for this.
Me too, truly.
Okay.
Okay.
Ready? 3, 2,
2,
1.
1.
Poulet cheese.
Stracchino.
Ah.
Oh, we're recording out of order, so there's actually no way to know.
Yeah, I have no idea where we're going to be at, so...
Okay, I'll go. So I have stracchino, which is a very, very creamy, very, very runny cheese. Why I've chosen this specifically is because it will make one hell of a mess, which I feel like Rebecca was for a majority of this film. And then also, if you're someone who has a bit of a lactose sensitivity, the very soft, runny cheeses are not a good look.
They're worse, yeah.
Very dangerous, but it's still delicious. I'm still gonna eat it. I may have regrets later. I may be clenched, which is, I feel, how she feels.
You were clenched this whole film, too.
Yes, how she feels about her shopping addiction. Like the joy of shopping and how amazing and wonderful it is, and then the regret after.
Yeah.
And how I felt watching this film, which was like, I loved it, I enjoyed it. I was also clenched the entire time. But it's still delicious. I don't have any regrets. So that's why this film is a deliciously creamy, bad for your lactose intolerance stracchino.
Yay! So, full disclosure, the cheese I picked, I've never had before. I went and did a bunch of research. I'm not even 100% certain I'm saying it correctly. I'm saying poulet cheese. It's P-U-L-E. Perhaps pool cheese.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it is a Serbian cheese made from 60% Balkan donkey milk.
Okay.
The rest is typically balanced with a goat's milk. And the reason why I've chosen this cheese is because, obviously, as any donkey milk cheese you would assume would be, it is quite rare. There's only something like 100 milking donkeys at any time to create this cheese in the first place, which makes it the world's most expensive cheese.
I was trusting the process. I was following along. I wasn't asking questions.
You knew I was going to get there eventually.
I knew it had to be for like a reason. But I enjoyed the journey.
Thank you. I wanted to make sure that people understood the history a little bit.
Yes.
Why I would choose something I've never actually had. It's reportedly can cost as much as $1,300 per kilogram.
What?
Yeah, because there's so little of it. It's just so very, very little.
Right.
But like what I find fascinating about it is after looking up people who have had it, it is incredibly delicious is what they say. But at the end of the day, what you're seeing is something that in all other accounts is almost indistinguishable from a goat's milk cheese because they are balancing the rest of it with goat's milk. And in a world where you are buying something for the price and not actually an enjoyer of the product, you could be very easily wasting your money. And this could just be some sort of fanciful, box that you're checking.
Right.
So, like, it just felt like appropriate to what I felt like Rebecca was doing, is just spending for spending's sake and not actually enjoying anything that she got. Like when she had that moment at the sample sale and realizing that she got fake gloves.
Yeah.
In a world where, a cheesemonger writes a blog post about this cheese to talk about the like beautiful intricacies of this freshness, the middle notes, the way that you can taste certain aspects of it, the butteriness on the bottom, like the composition. In a world where you can enjoy and appreciate all of these things, spend the money.
Yeah.
But if it's not something that you actually care about,
I'm passionate about,
it's not money well spent.
No.
That's the saddest part of it all. Imagine putting yourself in debt for something you don't actually care about.
Yeah.
And so I just thought this was this very interesting cheese. Also, people's opinions about it on the internet were very interesting.
I'm sure. Very divisive.
One day I hope to have a bite of it.
Yeah, but I'm not going to go out of my way to get it.
Correct.
If it's on offer, I'll definitely try it.
Yeah, and I would probably be willing to do like a very expensive portion just to say that I tried a little bit of it but didn't need to buy the whole gem of cheese, you know? I think it's really interesting, and I think it says a lot about people and dynamics and like how you place...
Where you place value.
Yeah, it's the difference between value and cost.
Yeah.
Which was such an important point of this film. And so for that reason, I went with a poulet cheese.
Nice.
Well, everyone, there you have it. That was our discussion of Confessions of a Shopaholic.
Let us know your thoughts on the movie, any shenanigans we may have missed, or what cheese you think it is.
You can follow us on Instagram at shenanigansensoupod, or you can email us at shenanigansensoupod@gmail.com.
We hope you'll join us next time, and until then,
I'll never decline you. Bye.
Bye.
Jane, if you were going to spend too much money on an article of clothing, what would it be and why?
Cowboy boots or something leather, because it lasts long. What about you?
So what I'm thinking is, one day I really want one pair of Louboutins, but I want something like the ones in that Irish movie that she walked miles in. You know what I'm saying?
Durable.
I actually have those on my Google alert
Really?
because I was like, those shoes are built to last.